Okay. Let's get into it. Let's talk about how the Cowboys did the most cowboy thing ever. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you said it. It's a game of inches. It's why you got to love this game. It's tough. It's tough to win. We fought our asses off. Obviously, they did. Great NFC's matchup. They came out with it tonight. But as you just said, an inch or two on one of those three plays, and we could be talking about a different outcome. A lot of good things came out of this game despite the loss. On the road, division game, great opponent they are, success that they've had in their environment. As I said, it sucks in the moment, but a lot of good we can take from this and use as we keep going.
So, hey, if you're new, my name is Keith. I do Black Quarterback Series, and today we got a full slate. Um, I was actually really excited to get into this, so let's get into it. So, the NFC East showdown. Dak was 29 for 44, 374 yards, three touchdowns. CD had a big game, almost 200 yards, 11 receptions, 191 yards. Jalen, pretty pedestrian, but still had a pretty decent game. He was 17 for 23, 270 yards, 270 yards, two touchdowns, and no interceptions. So let's talk about this. So NFC showdown is going to be close either way, just like I said last week. But they had a perfect opportunity, they being Dallas, to win this game. They should have won this game, and they did not win this game because they're the Dallas Cowboys, and they can never have good things. So you're at, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher the comment, but you get the penalty. You get the penalty, and you drive the field, and you drive the ball up the field 80 yards, only to then turn around and then have penalties on you and have a 3rd and 26 and can't get a touchdown to win the game. Just the most cowboy thing ever. But yeah, Dallas should have won this game. Shout out to the Eagles. They did just enough to win. But it's not like, and I've been saying this about the Eagles all year, they didn't do anything that was like they absolutely destroyed the Eagles or they absolutely destroyed Dallas. They did just enough. They did just enough to win. Um, I don't really have anything else to say other than Dallas is Dallas, and Dallas is gonna find a way to lose. Unfortunately, now you're looking at the records. The Eagles are 8-1. Dallas is 5-3. Dallas is most likely looking at a playoff berth now. They're probably gonna have to go on the road unless the Eagles just absolutely collapse. And if you're the Eagles, you kind of take a sigh of relief that you're probably going to win the division now. You just have to keep taking care of what you're taking care of. And so people are going to freak out about Dallas today and da. I'm not really concerned because they played well. They did not. It's not they didn't play well. They just didn't execute. They just didn't execute at the end. And we're going to get to the Vikings later. But y'all, everybody knows I had a Vikings friend who's one of my closest friends. And he always says, Dak is who y'all think Kirk Cousins is. And I kind of agree because there's no reason they should have lost this game. Like, if I can tag it or I can find it, just the last drive in itself. You don't got to watch none of the rest of the game. But if you watch the last drive, you'll be like, this is the most cowboy thing ever. You get a break, you get to the 25, and then you end up in 3-26 because of penalties and poor execution. So I don't even know what to say. Dallas being Dallas. That's pretty much all I can say. And so what I wanted to start the show off with was Josh Dobbs. He was 20 for 30, 158 yards, and two touchdowns, and did most of his damage in the fourth quarter. Now, we haven't been talking about Josh Dobbs all season because he plays for Arizona, and he's not a notable name that I don't think a lot of you guys care about. Let me know if you care about him. I'll talk about him more. He's a journeyman, 28 years old. Just got there Tuesday evening, maybe. He just got to the Vikings Tuesday because Kurt got hurt and they were starting their rookie and they were moving in a different direction. The rookie gets hurt The rookie gets hurt and he has no choice but to play. He hasn't took any snaps because he's the backup. He's essentially just now getting. He said in the locker room that they spent an extra 3-4 hours running over plays and everything when he got there. So it's not like he was completely oblivious to the playbook, but he just got there Tuesday, which means he didn't know much. For him to go in there and play as well as he played leads me to believe like, wow, why did Pittsburgh get rid of him? You know what I mean? Why did Arizona is tanking, so I get why they got rid of him. But it's like, wow, he's 28 years old. He hasn't really played much. He has all this athleticism. How is he not, firmly in a backup position to where somebody can't afford to lose him? It's funny how that happens with guys like him, Tyrod Taylor. And Geno is one of the few that actually got a chance to be a franchise quarterback, but even Geno was a top 5 pick. Well, not a top 5 pick, but he was a top pick. So, I don't know. Just shout out to Josh Dobbs, man. I'm so glad I had a chance to actually talk about him because I've seen his play, obviously, because I watch everybody. I've seen him play, and he hasn't done nothing that was like crazy enough for me to talk about, but today he gets to shine. Like I said, once again, I sound like a broken record. Shout out to Josh Dobbs. Maybe he can be the new franchise guy for Minnesota. Maybe not for long, but he could be a stopgap for them. Let's say the worst possible thing is he plays well, but they continue to lose and they have the number 1 pick. Could you see him playing? Could you see Caleb Williams sitting behind him? That's a long shot, but I'm just spitballing. So let me know what you guys thought about Josh Dobbs, and tell me some stuff you know about him. I don't really know much about him like that, but just let me know what you guys know about him. He seems like a really good guy. And he takes everything in stride. So, good day to be a Vikings fan. Good day to be a Vikings fan. So C.J. Stroud was the other guy that I thought about making this video about, but obviously we had the NFC East game. C.J. Stroud now has the record for the most passing yards by a rookie. 470 yards. He was 30 for 42, 5 touchdowns. It ain't like it started off well either. They were down 17-7 pretty much at the beginning of the second quarter. So it wasn't like a tear down from start to finish. He was missing open guys. He did not look very good in the second half. Did not look good at all. Well, in the first half. He did not look good at all in the first half. Now, he has 5 touchdowns, and he made some plays in the first half. But overall, you wouldn't be like, oh, my God, I can't believe C.J. Stroud. It was the second half in that last drive that really solidified C.J. Stroud as the best guy of this probably draft class. Him and Will Anderson. Ironically, they play on the same team. Some of the best guys to play in this class. Don't even really have much to say about him because, like, he just is a winner. You know what I mean? He's just a winner. He wins. That last drive was some of the most perfect football I've seen, just from the rewatch I saw, a condensed version I watched. Perfect ball placement, just perfect passing, and we're gonna have to see the quarterback school do a full breakdown before we can actually see the perfect breakdown and everything. But just from my perspective, from Keith's perspective, that fourth quarter was masterful. That fourth quarter drive was absolutely magical, and CJ is the real deal. I've been trumpeting this forever that they're going to make the playoffs, and they're 5-4 right now, and they're firmly in the playoff hunt. I thought they was going to make the playoffs like right at the back end of it, but if they keep playing well enough, they can contend with Jacksonville maybe because I'm not sure if they've played Jacksonville twice already, but who knows if Jacksonville slips, they might be able to get a home playoff game, which would be unbelievable. C.J. Stroud is playing some of the best rookie football probably since Dak Prescott at the quarterback position. And even Dak Prescott wasn't this good. So, and I think it's safe to say that C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback in Texas. And I say that with my chest. C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback in Texas. And so let's get to the first game of the day. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was super early. The clocks went back Sunday, and so it was kind of hard for me to get up and watch this game. So I got up and watched it. Pat Mahomes was 20 for 30, 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. After the first touchdown, it wasn't really much offense. up until maybe like the end of the second. But it wasn't really much offense there. Tyreek Hill was essentially shut down. I know the first half he didn't have much. I'll put what he had right here, but he didn't have much. He didn't play as well as he wanted to play. He did all that talking, but that's just what Tyreek Hill is. He went and gave everybody a hug. This game was 21-0 for a while, and I was like, oh dang, it's gonna be a blowout. But then Kansas City doesn't score again, and their deficiencies on the offensive end comes. They basically triple teaming Kelsey, forcing somebody else to beat them, and couldn't nobody else beat them. It's like when you got LeBron James when he has nobody else that's hitting, and you double team him and you force another guy to score 50. If that other guy scores 50, you tip his hat to him. Couldn't nobody get open? Couldn't nobody even do anything? They had Kelsey locked. I didn't even think that Miami's defense could do that. Miami's defense ain't the best defense in the world. But the Chiefs end up escaping just because of the Tua center dropping the ball. There was an opportunity there for them to score and to go into overtime. And if they went into overtime, I don't think that Kansas City could have won that game. I don't think they could have won that game. Now, granted, Kansas City, I think they're 6-2 as well, 7-1 somewhere along those lines. So it's not time to panic. But when you get into a playoff matchup and you're going against Baltimore, or you're going against Miami again, maybe, or you're going up against even Buffalo, hell, even Buffalo, you go up against guys that can score, and Mahomes can score with the best of them. But this team does not feel like the other teams in the past, to where I'm like, man, it's Mahomes and them in the field. You know what I mean? But Mahomes played well. He didn't play like terrible. He did what he was supposed to do. They won the game. So on the backs of their defense, ironically. So shout out to them. But I'm not sold with Kansas City. And I say this every week. I'm not sold with Kansas City. They won the game, but the game should have been over in the middle of the third quarter if Kansas City would have scored more points. So shout out to Kansas City, though. They're winning games, and that's the name of the game. And so we're going to blow through some of these other games that were just absolute dominations. Lamar Jackson, 21 for 26, 187 yards. Odell got his first touchdown this week from Tyler Huntley because Lamar kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit, so they set him down. They didn't need him anymore anyway. The game was over at that point. And they got another running back, Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell was 9 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Lamar was also not 10 carries, 60 yards. So Lamar played good quality football. There was nothing special there to be like, oh my God, Lamar had a day. He did what he was supposed to do. The last couple of weeks, Lamar has kind of, not saying he's out of the MVP race, but he's kind of settled into what he is going to be. But they're running the ball well. They don't need Lamar. I think that the crazy part about Lamar is when he's not saving the day, he just looks like an elite game manager. But when he's like being Lamar Jackson at 400-yard passing, 90-yard rushing, you'd be like, whoa. So he didn't have to put a Superman cape on. And that's what we want. We don't need him to put on a Superman cape. Just go 21 for 26, 186 yards, 187 yards. It would have been nice if he had a couple touchdowns, but they ran the ball for the most part in the red zone. So shout out to Lamar, shout out to Baltimore. You guys are on a tear. They have outscored Detroit and Geno's squad, Seattle, 75-9. They're dominating right now. That don't even count the Arizona game. They're dominating right now. And not only are they dominating, they're dominating good quality opponents. Because not Kansas City. Geno and Seattle is not no slouch. That's not a bad football team. That's a really good football team. And the Detroit Lions, that is a good football team. So if Lamar and them can get through the gauntlet in the AFC, you might want to put the Super Bowl trophy on Lamar's mantle because he's 18-1 against NFC opponents. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do going forward because they might get the number 1 seed. And then we'll revisit that when we did not get a chance to watch the Bryce Young game. He was 24 for 39, 173-yard touchdown, 3 interceptions. Just from the numbers, it didn't look like he had the best game, but obviously I didn't watch the game. Um, and they ended up losing. So I think it was 27-13. I'm gonna leave the link in the description so you guys can go and watch that game yourselves. And then the final game of today, Deshaun Watson, 19 for 30, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. Coop had a great game, 5 receptions, 139 yards. None of it meant anything, for real. They won this game 27-0. The defense was just not granted. It's Arizona Cardinals, so this is what should happen. But it's good that Deshaun Watson is kind of getting some confidence there. This was a confidence builder, a butterbean type game for them, for Deshaun, because the defense was just absolutely spectacular. It was spectacular. Like there's no more adjectives I can even describe the Cleveland's defense. It was absolutely spectacular. Now it probably looked better because they were just playing Arizona, but it looked spectacular. It looked phenomenal. So yeah, they're rolling. Cleveland is rolling, and the AFC North. I'm gonna leave it up on the screen. The AFC North division. Every team will make the playoffs today. That's absolute madness. That's madness. Three of the best defenses are in that division. Arguably the best quarterback is in that division. Arguably the best coach in the NFL is in that division. Like, that division is a bloodbath. And me being like a true fan of Baltimore, it's crazy that they're on the top of that division. They've whooped some of those teams out of them. So great week in NFL football. I'll see you guys later on in the week. Peace. Enjoy the weather.